expected. All right, moving forward. All right, so, no, you have 3 quizzes this week. That is it. You weirdos wanting your 4th quiz. All right, I would suggest starting your index cards tonight. That's what I would personally do. I'm not saying get them all done tonight. Have some fun. Tomorrow you do have 1 through 10 due for vocab quiz, but I would start them tonight, make your life a little bit better. All right. There was something else I wanted to say, but we're just going to go. We're just going to go. All right, here we go. So this week, that's what I was going to say. There are very few things in life that are guaranteed. First of all, you're all going to die. It's guaranteed. You are all going to have to pay taxes. Guaranteed. And there will be a research FRQ on your AP exam. There's been one every year. There's been an AP psychology exam. It's 7 parts to 9 parts, and it's only on research. So if you don't understand what's happening this week, you will not pass one of the FRQs. It's a big deal. We cover it in a week. It's fine. We come back to it. And stuff like that. Research is kind of tricky, but kind of obvious once you get it. I'm going to hold your hand through. We have a good time with it. I am teaching math this week, so the fun will really begin. If you flip to your study guide, this is like box number 1. So the scientific method is a system of gathering data so that biases and error in measurement are reduced. This is experiments. We use the scientific method in experiments. AP Psych is all about experiments. Everything we do is all about the scientific method. I am not going to teach you the scientific method. I think your science teachers have ruined it for you, yes? Okay, so the scientific method, come up with a hypothesis, test it. Ta-da. Okay. Are we good? For your application, I would say we use it in experiments. What?
I forgot to grab study guide.
No, you're fine. Here, go down. So, that's pretty much all you need for that. So let's move on to different types of experiments and stuff like that. So naturalistic observation, if you flip to the back of your study guide, you will see naturalistic observation. Naturalistic observation is watching animals or humans behave in their normal environment. So say for instance, and I don't want to actually know this, if I wanted to know what Plain High School students talk about at lunch, I don't. I really, really, really don't. I already know I'd feel incredibly uncomfortable. With that being said, if I wanted to know what Plain High School students talk about at lunch, okay, if I went out there and I demanded a table of high school kids sitting at one of the tables on the patio to come into my room, eat lunch in here, talk like normal, and wait for them to talk, would that be genuine conversation? Hopefully they're all calling their parents and saying, oh my God, a teacher kidnapped me, and is forcing me into their classroom to talk. Hopefully I get reported real quick, because that is super creepy behavior. Can we agree? So if I wanted to hear what Plain High School students talk about during lunch, and I cannot stress, I have zero desire, I would dress up like a Plain High School girl, which means I'm wearing track shorts. I'm wearing a t-shirt my father wore 30 years ago that is like 16 times too big and has holes and barely covers, like, your shirt's longer than your shorts, let's all be honest. I will be wearing Converse shoes and I will be walking like this, because all of you walk like this, like your soul has been crushed. All of you do. It's like the saddest thing watching people walk around. Then I will walk to the patio, not like this, because people would see me. And then I would sit at the end of the table and be like, having to text me, and I'll sit there and listen. Okay? Am I going to hear more realistic results from that, or forcing children to sit in my room during lunch? What am I going to get more out of? Sitting like a creepy teacher dressed like a Plain High School student sitting on the patio? Absolutely. I'll be honest, I can hear a lot just from standing outside my classroom. If you see me during 6, I'm absolutely freaking miserable. Oh my God, I literally look like I want to die. Anyway, So naturalistic observation is you go where the people are you want to study. If I want to study high schoolers at Plant High School, where do I go? Plant High School to study high schoolers. With that being said, there's major advantages and disadvantages. Major advantage, we get to see people in real life situations. Disadvantages, there's different types of bias. With that being said, there's an observer effect. Do you speak to your friends the same when your parents are around than when you and your friends are alone? No, you don't. I don't speak like the way I speak to you when I'm with my friends. I have the mouth of a sailor. My husband refers to my second job as the docks because I work in a restaurant. All they do is curse. So all I do is curse because I've always worked in restaurants. I have the worst mouth. There is no one who enjoys saying the F word as much as I do. I love it. I can use it in every way. I can use it with different inflections, and I'm really passionate about it. Okay? With that being said, here I talk differently. I'm trying to catch myself and get back into teaching shape. It's not going so well, but I certainly am trying. Okay, observer bias, observer effect means you change your behavior because you're being watched. Okay, participant observation. Now this next one is observer bias is on your study guide, by the way. If you look on your focus, you do have naturalistic observation on your focus, so you could also do that. Observer bias is the tendency for observers to see what they expect to see. Now, say for instance, I have a real life lunch duty. For the last 15 minutes of lunch during 6th period, I have to stand outside my door, which there's worse duties to have, let's be honest, but I have to stand outside my door and I'm absolutely miserable. Now, imagine if I believed and truly believed, which I don't, that Plant High School girls or women are the reason for every problem at Plant High School. That women are the core of the issues at Plant High School. So while I'm standing outside my classroom looking for bad behavior, who am I going to pay attention more to, the boys or the girls? The girls. Why? Because I think they are the source of the problem. That's observer bias. So while I'm standing out there, watching my patio, as my duty requires me to, I'm standing out there, and if I think girls are the source of all problems, am I going to be watching the girls closely or the boys closely? The girls closely. So two boys could just be beating the crap out of each other next to me, and I'll say, oh, boys will be boys. But a girl over here is eating her lunch, and I'm like, oh my God, do you see her? Look at the way she's eating her lunch. Okay, that's observer bias. Is that going to be more harsh on one than I am on the other? Is that going to give me fair results? No, absolutely not. All right, we see this a lot in classrooms. Have you noticed? Have you ever had a teacher who's incredibly biased against one specific student, one specific type of student, and you're just like, what the hell? The kid is literally, I said the same thing, and they're getting out. Like, those are different types of things that affect. All right, does anyone know who this chick is? Jane Goodall is the perfect example of naturalistic observation. Jane Goodall spent 18 years living in the jungles in Africa, playing with gorillas. Okay, she really wasn't playing with them, but she was sitting there watching them. So what would happen, Jane decided she wanted to research, so at like 18 years old, she marched 3 miles into the hills in Kenya, found a gorilla family, and she sat in a bush like 20 feet away, and she would write in her journal. She would name all the gorillas so she could keep them straight in her journal, and she would just sit there and just write about them. She's not interacting with them. She's not like, hi, my name's Jane. She would just sit in a bush. Well, eventually, after 18 years of following the same damn family around, guess what? Monkeys started interacting with her, and that's naturalistic observation. So with her records of how monkeys or gorillas interact, is that going to be pretty reliable? Yes, because she got to see them in real life. So Jane Goodall is a perfect example of naturalistic observation. All right, laboratory observations is in a restricted environment. We change things. It's not on your study guide. Oh, moving on. The good thing is about doing experiments in a lab, please just listen because you're going to need this for some other piece. If I decided I wanted to see how high I could jump, no more than 6 inches, I have no ups. With that being said, if I decided to test it right now in this classroom, would my results be pretty accurate? if I did it next to my little stick, it'd be pretty accurate, right? Now, if I did it in a lab where everything is kind of controlled for, I have different machines to help me calculate. Would it be more accurate or less accurate? More accurate, okay? So that would be the positive of the laboratory experience. However, is it like a genuine thing? Is it a real life thing to have that much, fuss around it? No, and that's the problem with laboratories. All right, so descriptive methods, case study. It's on the top of your study guide on the back. That's also on your focus, by the way, on the front. So a case study is a study of one individual in great detail. Every single year, kids struggle with this concept. So if I wanted to see what was the typical plant high school student experience, I'm going to follow Miss Owens around. I'm going to sleep at the Owens house, wake up with you, Grace. I'm going to note what you wear every single day. When you walk to school, you don't walk to school, but when you come to school, I'm going to note who you talk to, who you didn't talk to, okay? I'm going to write down all the things you say to your friends. I'm going to sit in all of your classes and write down how well you're doing, okay? Is her experience the same as everyone in this room? What about the girl? She's a girl, you're a girl. Don't you have the same experiences? Hello? The answer is no. Oh my God, why won't you talk to me? Anyway, okay? Now, I think all the men in the room would say, yeah, they have the same experience as a high school girl in high school as a male, correct? Hello? No, you don't. No, you don't. Oh my God, this is going to be a long year if you're not going to talk to me. Okay? With that being said, when we do case studies, it's really important to do them for one reason. After studying Grace Owens, not Grace, how many times have I called you Grace today? None. I just called you Grace.
You said I'll go and sleep with you.
Is Grace still home?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Not.
Okay. Olivia. I'm usually pretty good about not calling kids by their second names. Anyway, with a case study, the whole point of it is to see trends, see things that are happening, ask questions about why. Okay? So one of the most famous case studies that was done in Detroit, following 3 prostitutes for a year and a half. 3 researchers or psychologists followed 3 prostitutes in Detroit and tracked everything. The different men they were coming in contact with, how many laws, how many times they were arrested, different experiences that they went through and all that stuff. Okay? I think right off the cuff, you can say, why do we care about prostitutes? Yes? Yes? Okay? Well, what we found out from these case studies, by following these 3 women in Detroit, that if these women were offered some sort of other opportunity between the ages of 12 and 14 years old, they probably would not become sex workers. That some event happened between the ages of 12 and 14 for all 3 of these women that led them into the sex working industry. So the 3 women don't know each other. The 3 psychologists did not talk for a year and a half to keep themselves separate from each other. They came together and they realized the same thing. Because of these 3 case studies, they sent out surveys and they did research with other major cities, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, LA, talking to just sex workers. And they did an experiment, they noticed that 90% of all people that they asked who are in the sex working industry, a major event happened between the ages of 12 and 14 that changed their direction into sex working. So these 3 case studies, we saw this weird fact pop up. Then we said, well, why? Weird. Is this happening to other people? We then did an experiment and we found out, holy crap! Most people, 90% of all people in the sex working industry had a big event that changed their direction between 12 and 14. Now, in major cities, New York, Detroit, Boston, LA, They specifically have programs that target lower socioeconomic or girls between the ages of 12 and 14, how to help them get through those 2 big years to keep them out of the sex working industry. This came out in the 90s, 92 it came out, 95 they had programs in. By 2000, American sex workers in major cities plummeted by almost 60%. That's crazy! Notice that I said American sex workers! Because we don't have American sex workers in our cities, we now human traffic.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy though?
Yeah.
But the point of that story was, if you weren't impressed, was to show you that a case study is not scientific law fact. Can we agree? It gives us a question. Well, that's weird. We test the question, then with the results from the experiment that arrive from that, then we apply it to other things. Case studies will be on your AP exam. 1000%. They're always on your AP exam, and there's like 2 or 3 questions on this week's test on case studies. Because they're always on the AP exam, and kids historically do terrible in talking about case studies. They're not historical facts. They are, in fact, allow us to ask questions. A very famous example, I like the sex working one. I think that's way more entertaining to hear about. But the more PC one is going to be Phineas Gage. It's pretty cool. He gets a railroad spike shot through his head. Shot straight up through here. Can you imagine? And he lived. Yeah, he completely changed his personality. So we now know from Phineas Gage, from him having a railroad spike shot through his head, we know that your personality is homed in your frontal lobe. Case study. We did the research. Ta-da! It's fact. All right. I have an amazing video about it. The acting, top notch. Just fantastic acting. And by that, I mean horrible. Phineas Gage is such a big deal. We have his head in a jar. We have his flesh in a jar, which is pretty cool. This is just a mask that we made of him. But that's his skull. We also have the railroad spike. It's kind of a thing. It's a pretty big deal. It's at the Smithsonian, so you know. All right, surveys. Surveys are on the back of your study guide. Surveys are researchers will ask a series of questions about the topic under study. Raise your hand if you've filled out a survey. Yes. How much we hate them. I just want you to know, you love surveys?
No, okay, there's a story. I was at Fort Taco and they gave me one, and I was like with a bunch of people, and I was telling them what they gave.
And so you felt really special, so you filled it out?
No, listen, they gave me 2 tokens for free tacos after. I don't know.
Okay, that's a pretty good survey then. Yeah. All right, so every single year you have to do the climate survey here at Plant High School. They ask you about the climate at Plant High School, right? It's feels like 700 questions. I think it's 200 questions? Not 2 questions. Anyway, I just want you to know, every year before school starts, I have to sit in an hour and 45-minute meeting about what the hell you people bubble on that damn survey. You're all laughing because what do you do on that survey?
Bubble all the wrong shit.
Is this the survey where it's like your teachers care about
No.
your
Yes. Yes. So the great thing about surveys is we can all agree they're really easy to do, correct? In one of your classes in the history of your life, one of your classes said, well, you're going to make up a survey and then you're going to collect the results and find the statistical evidence, correct? Did you have to do that? Okay, good. So some of you had a real childhood. How did you learn your statistics? You don't do statistics? You don't... Yeah. You don't do that? Okay, this is so weird. People are like, no, I've never had a teacher ask me to make a survey.
That's sophomore year.
Yeah, I thought it was a thing, a genuine thing, a basic, you went to high school if you made a survey. No? Moving forward. Anyway, so we can all agree that surveys are really easy to do, yes? Okay, however, you can really skew the data. There was 13 people in this year's data during my the presentation I had to sit through who say they carry more than 7 weapons to school every day. Now, I am not trying to say that we don't have problems here at Plant High School. We completely do. Some of you actually do fill in information that actually is true and meaningful, and I want to hear that, so I'm not making fun of this survey. But I think 1 weapon would be sufficient, don't you think? Like, I mean,
You
like,
never know.
is there like a, like,
A lot can happen.
The socks, the sleeves, the hair.
that's true, I mean,
The bra.
oh, true, the same thing, like, you gotta, like strategize what shirt you're gonna wear that day, though, you know? Like, this would not be a good shirt, this would not be a good outfit for that. Anyway, clearly digressing. With that being said, your results are calculated and stuff like that, but it's easy to lie on it, correct? Every single one of us have bubbled through a survey. Some of you add more creativity than just straight bubbling. So we do live with that. Now, this is really kind of tricky, so please make sure you're listening. This will absolutely be on your test on Wednesday. It will absolutely be on your AP exam. Okay, so a representative sample. So say, for instance, I want to know how do most Americans feel about the fact that we had Nazis in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017. I want to know what Americans think about that, and I want to know what the representative Americans think about that. So what I would do is I have to figure out what does America look like racially. Okay? So, U.S. population, 41% of America is white. 30% are Hispanic, 20% are black, 9% are Asian. That's the whole population of the United States broken down racially. Okay? If I want to do a representative sample and see what most Americans think about having Nazis in 2017, you could do it in a couple different ways. Do you think asking every single person in America what they think about Nazis in 2017, would that be feasible or completely unrealistic? Hello?
Unrealistic.
Thank you. Asking everyone at Plant High School, would that be easy to do? No, it's still a pain to do. With that being said, we do representative samples. We're not going to ask the whole population of the United States. We're going to do a representative sample, which means we're going to represent everyone. With that being said, we're going to create a population. I have to figure out how many people I want to ask. So the population of my sample is going to be 100. So if I'm doing a representative sample, out of my 100, how many have to be white people?
41.
41 out of the 100 have to be white people. How many have to be black?
30.
20. I know, I
What?
led some
Oh.
of you astray. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lead you astray. I forgot the order in which I asked. How many have to be Hispanic?
30.
How many have to be Asian? Okay? Now, that is a very, very, very simplistic way of how you would break it down, correct? Now, if we were really talking about asking America what they think about having Nazis in 2017, we obviously have to make sure every race is represented, correct? We also have to make sure every age group is represented. We also have to make sure every religion is represented. So it takes a lot of work. Would you agree? Doing a representative sample is the most accurate results you can possibly get, but it's a pain in the butt to do. It is a complete pain to do. The other way we do survey collection and survey selection is by random sample. On your thing, you have random sample. Random sampling is, listen to me and then I'll pull it together for you. If I wanted to ask the population of Plant High School what their thoughts are on Nazis in 2017, but I'm like, I am not doing a representative sample, I would stand in a place that most people cross. Does that make sense? A place where I'm going to see a whole cross-section of people. Okay? So with that being said, my room is a pretty good example. I'd stand right outside my room, and the first 100 people that walk by, I would say, fill out my survey, fill out my survey, fill out my survey. Random sample. Okay? I would stand in a place where you have a whole cross-section of people and ask them to fill it out. Okay? Would I just go to the ESC department or just to the ESOL kids who don't know English, who are learning English as a second language? Would that be a good population? No. You want a cross-section. So you still have to be somewhat aware of who you're asking, but it's not as restrictive. Random sampling is the most popular way to do surveys because it's less paperwork, but not as accurate. I think it wouldn't be that hard for you here at Plant High School. We're 67% white. Okay, that's very high, especially in Hillsborough County. That's very high. Our next largest population is going to be 23%, and that is Hispanic. We have 15% black, and we've got like 4% Asian. Okay, so if I stand outside my door during 6th period and hand out 100, do you think I'm going to hit all those percentages equally? No, I'm probably going to have way more white kids sitting out here. Can we just be honest? Yeah, absolutely. You know, I may not get a single Asian kid. I may not get a Hispanic. Is that going to affect my results?
Yeah.
Yes. So there's pros and cons, and we have to select. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thanks, darling. Thank you.